a statement from the Holocaust Museum. Betty and I went in October to the Holocaust Museum. I became a member and they are sending me emails. But besides a statement, I got in touch with my sister Treintje, who works with refugees. And I asked her to email me, and she did in Dutch, so I translated it in English. It might sound strange, and it can be disturbing, but I want to read it to you. Here's first a museum statement on Syrian refugees. Washington, D.C. Acutely aware of the consequences to Jews who were unable to flee Nazism, the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum looks with concern upon the current refugee crisis. While recognizing that security concerns must be fully addressed, we should not turn our backs on the thousands of legitimate refugees. This is a statement, by the way, of November 2015. The museum calls on public figures and citizens to avoid condemning today's refugees as a group. It is important to remember that many are fleeing because they have been targeted by the Assad regime and ISIS for persecution and in some cases elimination on the basis of their identity. A living memorial to the Holocaust, the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum inspires citizens and leaders worldwide to confront hatred, prevent genocide, and promote human dignity. Its far-reaching educational programs and global impact are made possible by generous donors. So I asked my sister Treintje to email me. She's a younger sister of mine. She is married with 3 grown children, 3 boys. And she lives with these refugees basically during the week, 24/7, comes home a couple of days and then goes back to the village where they live. Young children are put with families if they have no family of their own. They're put with Dutch families. When they are 12 years old, they are going to a living arrangement with about 20 young people. Before I go on, I will tell you though that she said she emailed me in a state of consciousness. She didn't reread it or changed it, she just wrote it, so that's what I'm translating. They are supervised and guided 24 hours a day. If they become relatively independent, then they will live in a smaller living arrangement with about 6 people. Here they still will get guidance until they are 18 years old. They need to learn everything, like how do I email, how do you get insurance, how do I get financial aid to study, etc. The children usually come first by themselves. In Holland are various support organizations that have volunteers who help with paperwork and other business. This sounds all very good, but the reality is that these children have been refugees for a long time. Sometimes they have been living for months in terrible camps in Libya. Libya is a nightmare for all children. They often are so packed together in the camps that they cannot even move. And this might be a situation for days. They basically all have lice, various skin diseases, etc. Very young girls, still children, are raped. Many girls and also boys are used as sex slaves. Nearly all the girls will receive an injection in order not to get pregnant. After the ordeal in the camps, they have to flee through the desert. And in parentheses, she says, most children do not want to look at sand any longer. Like we have sand boxes for children, they don't even want to see the sand. So most flee through the desert and then in small boats. There they might encounter the drowning of their brothers or sisters, their fathers, their mothers, or people from the village. If they survive, they will travel by means of Italy to Holland. In Holland, they are helped by the COA. This is the refugee center where the initial intake happens and where they are screened. From there, the children are placed through a placing committee to different locations. This can take up to about 7 months. We receive many girls and boys who are 17. If they are 18, they are considered adults and they cannot be supported any longer by our organization. They are on their own and they have to live independent. Here they are, they do not speak Dutch, they are completely traumatized, they do not understand the life in Holland, etc. We as social workers are very frustrated by this. It feels as if you put a young child in the deep end of the pool without having them taught how to swim. I especially work with fugitives from Eritrea and Syria. I live together with 3 girls from Eritrea and 2 from Syria. Eritrea is in Africa, and then you have Syria over here. I have a map if you're interested. In the facility we have children from different countries and it has never given us any problems. The Muslim prays in his or her own way and the Christians pray and go to church. I have never noticed any hostility or rudeness towards the different religions by these young people. What is very important is that the rest of the family can come to Holland, what is called a family reunion program. This puts a lot of pressure on the children. That's why they fled. They usually fled first by themselves. That's why they made this dangerous journey for the safety of the whole family. Most of them borrowed a lot of money to be able to flee, and that needs to be repaid in order to get their parents coming. When the older children can get the necessary paperwork together to get the family to come, which take up to 18 months, then the family, who's still there, has to flee first to Ethiopia, where there is a Dutch embassy. This is an extremely dangerous trip. In Eritrea, you have to have a visa for nearly every village you go through. Once in Ethiopia, they have to go to a camp where they need to undergo a DNA test. After a positive result, they finally can get reunited with the family in Holland. Because Holland wants to reunite these families, the children that were placed with Dutch families first in Holland have to leave these families to be with their own families again. This can give a lot of problems. Their own family expects so much from their child because the child has been in Holland for a while and the child himself has still a lot of problems with daily life. A few children that I have accompanied, originally from Sudan. She fled when 2 years old with her mother to Eritrea, then Libya. The boat they were on got in distress. Lost her mother out of sight when she made a transition to the big ship. Her mother probably drowned. Forgets a lot of things, probably stress related. She is studying economics and commerce. She is very sweet and helpful. She helps the other girls with translation if needed. She's going to be 18 in 3 months and will have to live independent. I think she will be able to do this. Just turned 18 and will live independent next week. She will live together with 3 other girls from Eritrea. Is scared of hard noises. She does not like to sit next to me in the car. She cringes when I close the car door. She is sometimes not there. It seems that she has fainted, but that's not it. It can take hours, this lethargic situation, and then the tears stream over her cheeks. Is here since August 2016. She does not speak Dutch. She will get a volunteer to support her. I so hope with all my heart that she will make it. Her parents are probably coming at the end of 2017. Z, that's just a letter Z, she didn't use a name, has been here a year and a half. A girl from a remote village in Eritrea. Hardly any schooling. She has a lot of stress. She arrived in the center pregnant and has had an abortion. She will be living accompanied with support in 2 weeks. She had contact with her mother last week, who is now in Ethiopia. Within 2 months, a family reunion will take place. She will leave this living arrangement and will be joining her family. L, again just a letter, first letter of a name, is very religious and goes often to the Orthodox Church. She really tries hard, but puts a lot of time in religion and says that God will make everything right. By the way, a lot of children say this. That is nice to see it that way, but I tell them that God also gave them brains, and that's not for nothing. Is a Syrian boy who after 2 years got reunited with his family here. Now he has to obey the laws of his family again. First he was by himself. He has to go to school, but at the same time he has to take care of his parents, brother and sister, and he has to take them everywhere. He finds this hard and he would like to live alone. Has a Dutch girlfriend, and that is not accepted by his family. S is a Syrian boy of 16 years old, engulfed in psychological problems. His family sees him as a man. He behaves like one in a lot of situations. He pretends that he knows what to do and that he can do it. He gets himself in a lot of trouble and has trust issues. W did not want his mother to go through the difficult and dangerous journey to reunite, so he did not file any paperwork. Now he regrets it. He cannot go back to Eritrea, and the family reunion is not possible any longer since the time period to do this has closed. He knows he will never see his family again. In 1 year, I have experienced 4 suicide attempts. 3 children drank bleach and 1 hanged himself. These children prefer to die so they will not know the terrible fate of their families and do not have to deal with life any longer. How do I handle things? I talk to them about God, Muslims and Christians, and say to them that God is love, that he does not make mistakes, that when you choose to discriminate in what kind of form, that you then say that God made a mistake. They think deeply about this. When things take too much time for them, then I give my example of our vacation. We took the wrong road twice. It was dumb and annoying, had to drive 48 kilometers more twice. After an hour or so, we finally were on the right road. A terrible, tragic accident had happened on that road. If we had not made this mistake of taking the wrong road, we would have been involved in that accident. So what seems not that good or great can work out for the best later. I accompany them for all practical matters the first times, like the bank, the post office, etc. After a few times I wait outside, and after that they can do it by themselves. Sometimes they write their frustrations on the wall. I give them then a compliment and let them know I like the way they handle their frustrations, instead of fighting, throwing with things, etc. If they break something out of frustration, then I still tell them that I appreciate it, that they did not start fighting. By the way, fighting is normal. First they might go to the bar and then fight. And I point to the wall. All the children have a membership at the sports club where they can try to get rid of stress. Mostly I try to give them as much love as possible. I always do what I promise, so they know that there are people in the world that you can trust. When they come out of school, I have tea ready. I listen to them and I respect them. I am there for them. A few examples. I had to wake up a boy because he had an appointment. He was in deep sleep and thought for a moment that I was his mother. After that, he was totally confused and very sad. I cancelled his appointment and let him be. After that, he came to me, sat next to me and held my hand for a while as a thank you. A girl who had not heard from her mother for over 6 months became very sad. I took her in my arms and she cried there for over half an hour. We did not speak a word. After that, she could face the day again, more or less. A boy who says he understands Dutch and he can read it too, but does not want to speak it because he is ashamed of the way he says it. I explained to him that in Holland the people respect it that he tries to speak the language, even with mistakes. I told him that he should never be ashamed again. There is no refugee who should be ashamed. You all have been so courageous, have done such an enormous task by coming here. Whatever happens in your life, be never ashamed again. After that talk, he started to speak more and more Dutch. Is this a hard job? No, not at all. I am so grateful that I can do this work, grateful that these children encounter good people in their lives, like my colleagues. And I hope that we can give them the foundation for a life without prejudice and discrimination. Hey, you're doing this for the money, those kids tell me. And then I answer, yes, I am becoming very rich, but that wealth is in my heart because of the work I do. I tell them that I am grateful that they are so frank with me and that they let me be part of their world. I am warned by a pupil that without asking brings me a cup of tea, or that another one says, hey, we cooked, please join us. Or when they start to live independently, ask me, please visit me often. That when they know I have problems myself in the family, they give little notes or cards for my family members and ask every day how things are. The humor and jokes they make even under their circumstances. That after the weekend, when I work again, they say, Madame, I missed you, it has been so long. I tell the children that I am a mother myself, that in my heart I make the promise to all the mothers of these children to care for them to the best of my ability. The only thing that mothers all over the world want is that their child is safe and happy. I am obligated to take the job of temporarily mother, since the real mother cannot do it. We all are obligated to help the mothers in the world so the children can be children. And this is written by my sister Treintje Bringsma. Thank you.